What's up, metal and heavy music fans? These are some of the best metal albums you need to check out this week. Kicking things off strong, we have Obscura with a Valediction via Nuclear Blast Records. These guys are back at it again with all of the usual amazing technical and progressive death metal magic mixed in with a ton of classic Gothenburg energy in the riffs. Parts of In Unity and especially When Stars Collide sound like something off of Horacle, but with At the Gates vocals. And appropriately, even further in we get some cleans from none other than Bjorn Speed Strid of Soilwork. And just in general, there is a lot of variety over the course of this album, with everything from Devoured Usurper getting extra brutal and groovy in the vein of Morbid Angels Where the Slime Lives, to what sounds like a straight-up Megadeth solo bite on the instrumental Orbital Elements 2. Another triumph for Obscura, and honestly a big step up from the previous one, in my opinion. This week we also have Exodus with Persona Non Grata via Nuclear Blast Records. Thrash metal fans can rejoice at another album from this West Coast legacy act. And there's also the Converge collab for Bloodmoon that you know I'm stoked to talk about. Check out my full reviews for thoughts on those. There's also a new album from Volumes, which sounds like volumes.
Not quite my tempo.
But next up we have Khemmis with Deceiver, also via Nuclear Blast Records. Regular viewers watching right now know that I'm not the biggest Doom fan, but I do make rare exceptions, and Khemmis is definitely one of them, as these Colorado natives continue to bring a level of emotional weight to their music that is almost unmatched in the genre. And more importantly to someone like me, they always bring the riffs. Genuinely, many of these harmonized guitar passages remind me of bygone days listening to peak Gothenburg melodic death metal once again, just often slowed down to a snail's pace. Not something I would personally keep in my regular rotation, but even so, I think Doom and non-Doom fans alike can find something to enjoy in this album. Then for something entirely different, we have Thy Worshipper with this album name I'm not even going to try to pronounce via Pagan Records. I'm happy to see this pagan black and folk metal crew back again with their fifth album, whose title translates from Polish to Fairy Tales About an Old Man. What follows is another timeless, drifting, otherworldly journey recommended for fans of Heilung. There's a particularly unique fusion of various elements from tribal drums to almost jazzy guitars. Haunting vocals often lead the way, provided by multiple members and in a number of different styles, but I tend to be partial to Monica Lubis's always enchanting siren song. Think Mercure, but filtered through the experimentation of Portishead and Bjork. Speaking of experimentation, next up we have Plebeian Grandstand with
Rien ne suffit
via Debemur Morti Productions. Honestly, y'all, I can't even figure out if I really like this record or not. I've been a fan of this French black metal band basically since they dropped their first album, but with this fourth outing, they have really leaned into the experimental noise influences to a degree almost on par with the likes of Gnaw Their Tongues. Look, I love Imperial Triumphant, Piron, plenty of weird shit, but this one is a challenge even for me. The first few tracks are enough to turn most normies away within seconds, and even the most accomplished metal listener's brain to mush. But those who stick around will also be treated to a few straight-up ragers with names that, again, I'm sorry, but I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Worth a try at least, but you've been warned. But bringing it back to something fun, we have Aephanemer with A Dream of Wilderness via Napalm Records. This is a French symphonic death metal band with a folky energy that reminds me very much of early Ensiferum with a touch of Vindir for good measure. Incredibly catchy guitar hooks joined with staccato snarls and an impressive backdrop of layered strings that makes for the best kind of energy. I've been waiting all year for an album like this. When the world gets so dark and miserable, I look to music for escape, not yet another means to join in. For just an hour, A Dream of Wilderness takes me away to lush forests and fog-shrouded mountaintops. So trade the pajama pants and Netflix binge for elven cloaks and goblin-slaying daggers. It's time for an adventure.
Come on!
And then there's The Lurking Fear with Death, Madness, Horror, Decay via Century Media Records. So album number 2 this year with Thomas Lindberg of At the Gates on vocals, with a third very soon on the way. As I've said before, I honestly dig this side project more than the first 2 reunion albums from At the Gates. And even though I really enjoyed the progressive turn of The Nightmare of Being, those who miss the scorching aggression of the early years will find something to love in this album. Hell, tracks like Cosmic Macabre would have been right at home on Slaughter of the Soul. No bells and whistles, just straight Swedish death metal through and through. I mean, it's right there in the title. Expect nothing more or less. Hammering beats, endless hooks, and Thomas's always trademark raspy snarls make this an easy recommendation. Y'all let me down in the comments what other metal albums would you recommend this week, and check out this other weekly roundup. And subscribe to hear my favorite albums of the month and also coming up the entire year. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.